I'm not supposed to sit down on the job, but what if the chairs come included? Hey everybody, Josh the RV Nerd here with Bish's RV. Got my hands on yet another Arctic Fox fifth wheel from Northwood. You folks, you really seem to like what you see out of these Northwoods, and as long as you want to look at them, I'll do the best I can to record them. This right here, it's a little bit of a twist on a very traditional classic floor plan, but everything Northwood does, they do it their own interesting little way. And it might kind of look familiar, but it's not done exactly the same way. So this is an awesome rear kitchen, just tons of countertop prep space, tons of storage space. It gives us something very few fifth wheels offer. No slides on the door side with good window coverage on the door side, instead of only looking out the poop side of the RV at your neighbors, because your neighbors always look like me with a little bit of a dad bod and never like the Swedish swimsuit team, if you know what I'm saying. What they've done here, though, where it's a little bit classic, is it still has an east-west bed slide. So often when you see these one-slide rear kitchens, they don't have any kind of bed slide up front, so it still gives you that big, expansive walk-around king bedroom. But one of the things I really feel about Northwood RVs is that they're almost like, in a sense, like a towable motorhome, just with the way that they're built a little bit differently. And helping us along the way today, I actually had the opportunity to recruit the assistance of somebody straight from Northwood. So rather than hearing it from me, you get to hear it straight from the horse's mouth himself. This is Mr. Colby Lankford. And Colby he doesn't just sell these things. Colby's, how many years have you been with Northwood?
10 years now.
10 years. And you were on the production line.
Production, service, PDI, and now sales.
So, I mean, if you want to talk or hear from someone who's literally seen these things from raw chassis all the way up through the process, this guy right here has done anything and everything. Could probably put one of these together virtually by hand if he had to, right?
Yeah, somewhat.
So we're gonna somewhat. He's being bashful over here. You know, just an old guy. Anyway, so we're gonna recruit some of Colby's help today. We're gonna take a look at this one. We're gonna show you some of its high points. We're gonna talk about a couple of its potential points of concern for you. Always doing our best, even when I'm standing right here next to Factory Man, to give you that best fair information I possibly can. So let's get inside there. There's something about this layout where it's like a big super slide over on the driver's side, and then that giant rear kitchen, this huge overlook window on the door side of the RV. First of all, giving you an awesome view of your campsite instead of the neighbors. But there's something about this. It is so wide open. It totally looks and feels to me always like an opposing slide RV, but it's only a one slide living room, you know? Now, a couple cool things. Let's actually kind of start from the top and work down. This does have a double vaulted roof truss system, and it has a very thick roof structure. I'm going to give you kind of a little bit of a sneak peek of that at one point in the RV. But up top here, I want to kind of mention this guy. You got this big XL vent fan, but what's cool is this is one of those like auto magical thermostatic fantastic fan systems. What's really cool about that is, these are made in the Pacific Northwest, and there's a huge boondocking off-grid enthusiast following, etc., whatever word you want to apply around here, trend. A lot of those folks don't want to run like big loud air conditioners and generators all the time, and they want to do as much on 12 volt as they can. What's really cool about that little remote control that I showed you is basically it's kind of like the thermostat as well. So no matter if you're sitting in the table and chairs, if you're sitting at the theater seat, if you're sitting at the recliners over here, no matter where you're sitting, that is like what the fan will try to accommodate. It will try to get that area of the RV down to whatever temperature that you have set on that and turn off if it doesn't necessarily need to, you know? Now, obviously, very, very classic interior decor. Every shade of HOA brown you ever did see. But I want to give them some credit where it's due. This is a true 2-inch thick laminated sidewall. There's a lot of fifth wheels out there that do that also, but there's a lot of 1.5-inch. Notice, though, they go the extra mile. Have you ever seen, how many laminated sidewall fifth wheels have you seen in my videos that do not have outlets in the sidewalls? What they will do often is put power outlets under the overhead cabinets, where your appliances are really struggling to reach because it's like manufacturers of appliances keep making shorter and shorter cords. They put those outlets where you can get to them. And massive credit where it's due, giving you like a full stovetop rear wall, backsplash, and side splash, because obviously somebody at Northwood has cooked bacon and they understand that bacon grease will splatter sideways whereas most of the RV industry doesn't seem to understand the physics of bacon splatteration. I didn't finish my doctorate on that topic, but I'm working on it one strip at a time. By the way, did you know the average American eats 18 pounds of bacon a year? Think about that. That's a lot of pig. There's a lot of pig there. Big, giant convection microwave oven. You see that 4-door, 18 cubic foot gas electric refrigerator freezer. A lot of people like the residential fridge or the 12-volt fridge. Northwood doesn't offer those because, again, they really cater to a boondock clientele first and foremost. The thing is, though, a lot of times those gas electric two-way fridges are mounted inside of a slide-out. And as a result, slide-outs will never have the same insulation quality as the rest of the RV, you know? A slide-out is much, much thinner on top than the roof of this RV, for instance. So there's just no way it could possibly have the same insulative qualities. But that's not the case on this floor plan. In this floor plan, that refrigerator is mounted in the body of the RV, so it has the most insulation, even an extra cupboard above it. It is fairly nicely well protected, essentially. Now you might notice these are a set of free floating kind of recliners right there. And, you know, it's a very classic layout. It doesn't have that theater seat straight across from the entertainment center kind of floor plan. But as we're going to see in a few minutes here, that TV can pivot. And with recliners that are not bolted down like a theater seat, those can pivot also as well. First and foremost, though, let's start cracking open all the storage. Now, these are all hardwood cabinet door fronts and frames and inserts and all that. This is also all pocket screwed cabinetry on here, and you see solid surface kitchen countertops all the way through. And plenty of storage in this one right here. Just being fair, giving you a little cautionary information. If you're going to tow and go and travel a lot, you may consider a different model other than just a rear kitchen. Check out one of the rear living room Northwoods or something like that. Because if you're traveling a lot, all your storage back here is way behind the axles, and it's going to bounce more, and it's going to jounce more, and it's going to kind of, you know, your cabinets might be in a little bit more disarray. You see Mr. Colby helping us out here, sizing everything up, kicking back a little bit in that little wall-hugging theater seat that they have right there. Notice, too, the blackout shades and that twist and shout TV all over the place. And then, right by the door, coat closet by the door. That is one of those things. It's like, you hear me talking in my videos all the time, like, I don't like it when outside speakers are mounted too high. I don't like it when a manufacturer doesn't give you a place for a wastebasket, which this has built into the kitchen countertop, by the way. And I don't like when manufacturers don't give you a place to hang a jacket, or like a dog leash, or something like that. That cabinet array right by the door, that is an absolutely awesome piece of equipment. Now, this floor plan offers a pretty cool opportunity. If you don't want those recliners right there, you could take them out. They're not bolted down to the floor. They're not changing the construction of the RV. You want to put an extended breakfast bar right there. You want to put your own little desk space and have this big giant overlook window on your campsite right there. You absolutely could. But this is where I was saying right here. This is one of these awesome little things they do. This little Homer Simpson donut right here, like a hard day old donut. We are actually looking down into the trash can right now. You can see the lip of it right there. So you have an awesome, easy access, right out of the way place to throw all your, you know, wrapping papers and veggie chop ups. By the way, here's a pro tip with kale. If you cook kale with coconut oil in the pan, it makes it much, much easier just to scrape directly into the garbage. And you might be wondering, okay, but the recliner's in the way of the door to get to that. Hang with me, baby birds. I'll feed you a little bit when we go outside. First, though, we are going to slide our way upstairs here. Now, you may have noticed, they're still using traditional floor heating vents. They're still using like carpeted slides in bedroom, because that's just what this company has done since the dawn of time. And this company is using, you know, build methods and ideologies that have been around since the Dead Sea was only sick. But the fact is, it's proven and it's respected in the target circles. They're not trying to be the highest volume mainstream brand that everyone's seeing. They're doing things their own, just different little Northwood, kind of doing Northwood things way. Over here we got the king bed. Obviously you could swaption down to the queen, because if you notice, the queen bed base is tucked way back there. And by the way, there are household and USB outlets down there. That's easy to miss. Now, if you go with the queen bed, you see how it's not exactly like built in. There's that big air gap right there. One of the cool things that you could do with that is, you know, if you want to put a little side stand for like phone chargers, there's a lot of different interesting little things that you could do with that right there. Now, in the living room, we saw that XL vent fan up top. You see the exact same thing right here, but you see that white power junction box in the ceiling next to it. That's the second air wiring, basically. If you want to add a second air conditioner to this, it's totally ready to do that. Most big fifth wheels are doing that standard now. But again, this is kind of built to be a little more focused on some boondock friendliness. It has really good cargo capacity. It has some very respectable holding tank ratings. That is something that this brand here does extremely well. And, you know, a lot of dresser space up here. It doesn't have that like flip top super secret squirrel storage that a lot of them have, but it's not hurting for space whatsoever. You guys can't see it, but Mr. Colby's actually right behind me here. Mr. Colby, is that front closet washer dryer prepped?
Yes, sir.
This one is. Okay, I hadn't checked that out quite yet, but I thought I would throw that info out for you. Actually, you know what? Why am I just telling you when I can actually show you? So let's kind of start right down here. You see you got all that handy dandy storage space up there. Now you've also got dimmer lighting in several areas of the RV, which is really nice to kind of take the edge off of those. Maybe you had one too many barley pops, you know what I'm saying, Mr. Colby, and the lights get a little bit bitey at some point. You also see under the bed there's kind of like an interesting little pocket of storage. And this is something that really tripped me up the last time I was in one of these. I couldn't find the bedroom slide button. I looked all over the place. I couldn't find it. And it turns out it was just over my head. Kind of like, you know, most jokes. And any good advice my wife's ever given me just flies right over my head. For whatever reason, I can't seem to absorb that easily the first time. Now, I mentioned I was going to give you like an X-ray vision sneak peek view of a little bit of the roof structure, and you can kind of get an idea of that by looking up in these skylights. I'm going to use my hand as a reference. It's huge. The trusses up here, the amount of space that they have for air gap and insulation, because that's a thing a lot of manufacturers, if like they'll say, well, we use 2 rolls of batten insulation. Batten insulation, rolled fiberglass insulation, for those who aren't aware, it's only useful if it's not squished. The more you squish it, the less air it has in it, the less it works. So by going with this big double vaulted roof truss system, they're increasing strength, because we all know that an arched structure holds more weight than a flat structure, right? Kind of like a VW Bug, if you think of it like that. But they can layer insulation here without squishing it and squishing the air out of it, which is why they don't have the world's biggest R values, but they have one of the most effective climate packages out there. Now, Mr. Colby is how tall?
5'7", 3/4.
5'7" 3/4. And I wanted him in here to kind of give you a real world demonstration. He's a little bit shorter than I am. But look at the headroom in here. What's the upper deck height in this?
You're going to be right over about 6 foot. So you're going to be, you know, anywhere from 6'2" to 6'6", I believe.
Depending on where you're at in so where you're standing in the shower in front of the shower head, you're probably like a good 6'4" or something like that, not even including the skylight.
Yeah, at least. And I could be mistaken, but I believe it's right there around 6.5 feet. Yeah.
So my wife's a little more gravity friendly than me. Could you drop that shower head down for her so that it'd be a little bit easier for her to use versus way up high where I'm always at? I like those extra little details. Oh, you broke it. No, I'm kidding. Now, when people see a glass angle shower, a lot of people instantly tune out. This is not the little travel trailer ultralight glass shower that you're looking at. Can you do me a favor? Can you put both your arms like up on your head like you're soaping up your hair and whatnot? Yeah, so they can see the elbow, like you have elbow room in here. Yeah. You look like you're getting arrested. All right, well, we talked to the authorities. I'm going to move on here. Now, the authorities have come to collect Mr. Colby, but I do have a feeling we'll be seeing him again. Oh, you're getting a little peek at me in the super magnifying mirror. But the thing is, notice it's got a little power outlet or power cord hanging off of it. This is one of those classic... Again, I call this like almost like a towable motorhome kind of feature. It's got those that, you know, power lit magnifying glass kind of thing. And frankly, is my vision, like I clipped over 40 here, and my vision's really starting to go to pot. Sometimes some little things like that helping me put my contacts in. Frankly, I like that idea. But again, it's all these little detail things in the Northwoods, like making sure that the door can't go fly open, the extra little door stop right there. This is now, if you've been keeping count, number 3 of the Fajita Friday fume fighting fans. Absolutely 0 dollar store 4-inch fart fans used in here. Now, I'm going to see if I can use the force and magically open those doors from a distance, and it does turn out that I can. As you see, we've got some good storage capacity over here. Extra little linen space. Let me give you an idea of the depth of that kind of thing. Oh, look at this, magically opening for me. Wow. For some reason, I was thinking that's like a weird triangular space, but that's some really good storage right there. And spoiling our surprises, once again, Mr. Colby Lankford. Now, I hadn't looked. I was a little afraid you weren't wearing pants, but extend your legs out right there. So, I mean, if you had to set up shop.
Plenty of space, run out of TP, get some more.
There you go. All right, now closing up the slides like I do for road mode. What you're going to see, this is interesting. This RV is travel stayover friendly, but not necessarily travel stop friendly. Here's why I say that. These classic rear kitchens, when you close that big, deep slide, is that a 42-inch slide? How deep is that slide, Colby?
Yeah, about 42, I believe.
Okay, so the reason that just blew my mind, ladies and gentlemen, is most super slides are 36 inches deep. But this is an 8.5-foot wide body product with an extra deep slide, which is one of the reasons it feels massive in here. Until the slide closed, I didn't even really consciously key into it. Holy crap. So that's cool. I wish I'd have talked about that sooner. Neither here nor there. But the problem with an extra deep slide is that it has to come extra deep into the RV, which means that it's going to pretty much block off our refrigerator. Now, you could sneak around that. You could get over to the sink, depending on what you do. If you have like a little ice box or something, maybe you could have a little, travel snack station. But that is a rack and pinion slide downstairs. So if you do need to partially open that, so like get to half the fridge to grab your lunch meat or something like that, you can do that. You don't necessarily want to sit in the slide and occupy the slide when it's only half open. Yeah, you really don't want to do that. Not that you don't want to do that. But you could access that and then close it up behind you, if need be. All right, so stepping outside here, you might notice that this RV, it looks like it's Uncle Josh in timeout. It's just staring straight facing the wall. So I'm going to have to cheat, and I'm going to walk over here to this other Arctic Fox to show you kind of the way the nose of this thing looks. Now, notice up there the bed slide, just like the one that we were looking at. You can get the slide awning put on it. And if I kind of weave my way around, I don't know how well this really translates to camera when you don't have one next to it to give you a frame of reference. But girl, you thick. This thing is 8.5 foot wide. It is thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. And that is one of the major differences this has as compared to the Fox Mountain brother or sister, whatever you want to call it, cousin uncle series to this one. Those are 8 foot wide. This is a 8.5 foot product. See that Moride pin box up there? And this is one of those that's shock dampening. But like if you hit the brakes, there's like a super thick heavy duty rubber kind of dampener in there so that it'll take a lot of that, like you won't feel like you get slammed in the back if you have to hit the brakes real fast, which is awful nice. Now we're up front here, you see this big open compartment. But if you look really close, there's actually these interesting little almost kind of perforations or punch outs. And you see that there's like a little punch out on that big baggage door right there. That is because if you want to, you can gen prep this, or you could actually throw a generator into it, which is, a cool, easy thing you can do. Now, transitioning back to the back of this thing, you notice over here that this does have not just an accessory hitch with the safety chain hooks, that's an actual towing hitch. And going right along with that, you may notice that there actually is a hinge on the ladder back here. So that, let's say you do have a bike rack or something back there. Sometimes those handlebars kind of fight for space against a ladder. So it's kind of nice that they give you a little opportunity to get away from that. Now, I'm totally outside of my normal order of operations of things, but as long as we're staring at the back side of this thing, let's climb up to the top side of this thing and take a little look at all the roof line stuff. Up there you will see the start of a basic solar package, but they've done some work for you to expand on that very easily if you want. Because this has a 40 amp charge controller standard from the factory, and that's only a 45 watt panel. It's a battery tender. If you do want to bulk up and add more panels, though, you could very easily do that. That Zamp prep plug up on the roof actually has an extra plug available. Now, something I didn't talk about inside are these windows. These frameless windows are actually dual pane, and one of the biggest benefits there, it's not a massive insulation gain. It's actually a huge noise dampener. Not to mention, frameless windows, They just look smexy. Kind of like the way I feel after 3 tequilas, right, Mr. Colby? Okay, so Mr. Colby here, like I said, he's built these things practically from the ground up. While you're sitting here taking a load off, by the way, I've got blackmail on you. I saw you sitting on the job.
Yep.
Can you tell us about your tires and suspension here?
Absolutely. So 16-inch wheels with a Goodyear G614T. So that is a G-rated tire, just like it says. So the good thing about these is your sidewalls are much thicker than most other RV tires out there, and these are not imported. So what that means is you go to any tire shop out there, you're going to be able to find these tires, whereas if you have the imported tire, they're going to want to sell you 4 completely new tires. On the inside, where it gets into the chassis, we do have shock absorbers on all 4 tires. And then we have what we call web axle hangers reinforcements that reinforces that 12-inch I-beam top to bottom where the leaf spring attaches. And that's where all of the load transports from the ground to the chassis itself.
Oh, wow. So, and that's an extra thing you do in-house because you build your own chassis, correct?
Correct.
You don't purchase your chassis from a supplier. So if there's any sort of problem or service or everything, there's no finger pointing, right?
Nope, no finger pointing. It comes right back to us. But in my 10 years at Northwood, I've never seen a single chassis issue because of how well and how beefy we build our chassis.
Well, you're certainly not ultralights, I'll tell you that much.
No, we like them nice and heavy.
If you could do me a favor up here, there's some interesting little baggage doors off the side you don't normally see hanging off a fifth wheel. Could you crack those open for us?
Yep, so right here is going to be your trash bin. So one thing we had, a lot of people basically tell us on this particular model they would like to have an access on the outside versus the inside because of where your recliners are located.
Yeah, I would be one of those. Now, for those who are curious, you do have an interior access door to that. But what's kind of nice is, remember, you have that little cutaway insert on the inside, so you can just drop stuff out. And then when it's time to empty the garbage, it goes straight outdoors. Nothing necessarily comes inside. Now, what do we have back here? And I'm noticing you're using some like real, nice paddle latches right there. And what are you showing me there? Thickness on the doors?
Thickness. So this is a 1-inch fully insulated luggage door. So if you notice, this basically latches and seals at one point. So with the 1/2-inch doors, which is standard on most RVs out there, it's going to be very weak and you're going to basically bend the entire door. Okay? And then this is your slam latch. So literally you can just slam it versus whereas the other ones have the little paddle locks.
Gotcha.
As far as what this is for, this is literally just dead space underneath the counter that we wanted to utilize for extra storage space for something on the outside because people like carrying basically anything and everything when they're out camping.
I've learned that whatever cargo people think they carry, at least double it.
Oh yeah, at least. Sometimes triple, quadruple from what I've seen at the factory. People like carrying their stuff.
Now, do you want to do something fun?
It depends.
Sucker. Well, obviously Colby hasn't watched enough of my videos. He didn't know what's fun for me necessarily might not be fun for him, but he's learning. This, obviously, Mr. Colby Lankford, hanging out in the drop frame, huge front storage cavity that they have in these things. Mr. Colby, how tall are you, sir?
5'7"3/4".
5'7" 3/4. I tell you what, if I was playing one of those carnival games, I never would have got the 3/4. But you can see with the wide body drop frame on this, there's all kinds of room. Mr. Colby, what do we have up here?
So right here you have access basically to install an additional TV, which does loop inside to where your other TV is in the living room.
Oh, so it's not like, it's kind of like shared entertainment.
Yeah, so if you have a dish or direct box, you can basically port that to this and watch TV on the outside of the coach here.
Game day bucket, go boom.
Absolutely.
All right, one more thing. I just want to test the seals on this real quick if I could. All right, how is that, Mr. Colby? Knock once for yes, I'm okay, and twice for no, I'm not. Okay, yes, he's okay, ladies and gentlemen. Moving on here. We have ourselves handy little toolbox storage space. But this is kind of an interesting, a lot of manufacturers, like, just random weird spaces, they'll waste them. And you know what? Yeah, there's all kinds of different stuff in the way, but that's what I call why not storage. Like that extra pocket under the rear kitchen countertop back there. They just don't waste anything. Now pardon me, I should probably let Colby out of there. If anyone asks, he wasn't here. So folks, I always say this, like when somebody joins me on camera here, it can be a little bit nerve-wracking for him sometimes. You know, I think Colby did great. Give Colby a quick hand. Tell him thank you in the comments section here and let him know good job he did. And let's give Colby some other feedback. What is your very favorite thing on this fifth wheel? And what's the one thing you could change to improve it, make it a little bit better for next year? We can get that to him and who knows? And if it doesn't happen, It's all Colby's fault. All right, guys. I think I've made him sufficiently uncomfortable at this point. Until next time, take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.
Thanks, guys.